This is something I've noticed time and time again, even coming from atheists, but whenever a religious person does something evil, whenever they perform some act that harms those around them, even if they openly say that they acted for religious reasons, why do people try to excuse their actions as something else? Why do people make excuses for the religious? I mean, recently over on my blog, I did a story about a woman in Oklahoma who became convinced that her daughter was possessed by a demon, so she forcibly shoved a crucifix down her daughter's throat, punching her in the face at the same time until her daughter was dead. And this woman apparently isn't sorry at all for what she did. She feels completely justified in her actions, at least according to the stories that I've seen. But it wasn't long until VJack from Atheist Revolution came along and tried to excuse her actions because she was clearly crazy. Now, I like VJack a lot, and this is nothing against him whatsoever. He's just a convenient example of the problem, but he made an excuse for her religion by declaring that it must have been a mental illness, not an irrational belief, that was responsible. Let's be honest, religious people, especially fundamentalists and Catholics, really believe in demon possession. They really think that demons and devils are real. They really engage in exorcisms. This isn't just one person going off the reservation. This is a very common thing that religious people actually believe. The only difference is that this woman went and acted on her belief, whereas most religious people find a way to rationalize their way around it. But that doesn't change the belief. It doesn't make the belief any more credible. It just means that some people ignore their impulses and some do not. Now, was this woman crazy? Maybe. She definitely didn't have the kind of filter in this instance that most religious people do. But would she have committed the act at all if she didn't hold those beliefs? And I don't think so. And there are many, many, many more examples that I can come up with where religious people act in utterly insane ways solely because they hold these truly idiotic beliefs. And I don't want to hear "not all," because that's irrelevant. Just because every Christian doesn't murder someone because they're delusional and want to cast out demons doesn't mean that a huge number of them don't believe in demon possession. Just because every Muslim doesn't strap on a bomb vest and kill infidels doesn't mean they aren't all reading from the same holy book that commands them to do so. It doesn't change the teachings, only the reaction to the teachings. But the real problem, at least as far as I'm concerned, is that the teachings are taken seriously at all. Absolutely no one ought to take any of this ridiculous nonsense seriously. And the fact that anyone does is a problem. I mean, in the case I previously mentioned, I can imagine no reason why she would have killed her daughter had she not held that religious belief. None at all. Even if she was psychologically unbalanced, and she might be, I've got no way of knowing, there has to be something that set her off. There has to be some insane belief that made her act the way that she did. Even crazy people don't just snap and go do things for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And in far too many cases, that reason is religion. So why do we like to pretend that it isn't? Why do we refuse to call a spade a spade? Why are we so afraid to admit that there's a problem? I might not say if it was all religiously delusional people defending the practice of religion, but far too often it's atheists who are trying to find other explanations for religious violence, and that makes no sense at all. I mean, the non-religious left are out there defending Islam, one of the most demonstrably murderous ideologies there is. How is this a thing? Why can't people just admit that religion is a problem? Not extremists, not fanatics, not lunatics. Religion. These beliefs are crazy. Just because every single religious person didn't take part in the Jonestown Massacre doesn't mean that the people that didn't act for religious reasons. We've got no problem admitting that non-religious delusional people are delusional. What is it about religion that insulates them from the damning eyes of reality? Somebody, please explain this to me, because I honestly don't get it. I mean, I think at least some of it is cultural, that people don't want to admit that the majority of those around them are simply insane, at least when it comes to their religious beliefs. They subconsciously try to defend their family and their friends and their neighbors, but there really is no defense. There just isn't. I mean, we wouldn't be defending people who believe in aliens, would we? Do we doubt that alien belief is what caused the Heaven's Gate cult to off themselves? Why is there such a disconnect? Again, I'm not trying to blame the people who fall into this trap. I'm just pointing out that it is indeed a trap. And the sooner people recognize it for what it is, the sooner we can actively try to avoid it. Religion is a problem, not how people interpret it, not how people treat it, not how much people believe it. It is, in and of itself, a problem. It causes people to commit murder. It causes people to abuse their children. It causes people to injure the innocent. If not for religion, these things simply would not happen the way that they do. So what do you think? Does religion get a pass in society that it simply does not deserve? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever excused religious violence or tried to lay the blame somewhere else? Why have you done so? I think this is an interesting question that needs to be addressed. The more we know, the more we have a responsibility to point out the problems, and religion is a massive problem for us all.
Everything changes.